Alright, so welcome back, gentlemen, to this new tutorial. I'd like to do something. I want to add a checkbox, and once I check that checkbox, I want to insert something to the database. So this is our challenge for this tutorial. Alright, so the starting point is gonna be, let's add an input. So the input type is gonna be checkbox. So let's see that over here displayed. So refresh. As you can see, we got a little box over here called checkbox, or it's checkbox actually. So the second input is gonna be a submit button. So let's add it real quick. So input, it's gonna be submit. Let's save that out and let's do over here refresh. As you can see, we got the submit query over here. So also I'd like to change its value, or its don't like this submit query. It looks long and boring. So we can just write or something like this, submit uppercase. Now we got it, so real short and nice and clean. Alright, so basically the goal is once we check this box over here and hit submit, I want to insert something to the database. So before doing that, we need to do some procedure over here. So we need to start by using a form. So let's add a form over here, form. I can't type today. So the second part of this form, I need to put it down below, just like this, and also over here let's make some space just so we can make everything looks fine. So for the form, we need to use the post method. So let's add it over here. Method's gonna be post, just like this. Also, let me just scroll down a little bit over here, and we need to start with the PHP tag. Let me just save also. So PHP tag like this, and let me get down and let's close that PHP tag. So inside that, we need to check if our checkbox is selected or not. So I'm gonna start with an if. So if is set. So we need to check if our checkbox is set or not. So since we are using the post method, I'm gonna add a $sign and like this, and let's add a post, and inside the square brackets, so let's add the quotation marks just like this. So we need to add over here the name of our checkbox. So just imagine if you are having a lot of inputs, so we need to identify which one we're going to be using. Let me just get back. So this one, which one? So the way to identify these checkbox is by the name. So let's give this checkbox a name. So for example, we can call it check number 1 like this. So over here we need to check that. So if is set post, it's gonna be the check number 1. So if is set, do the following, which is, let's do for example echo check 1 is checked. So let's close that. This is just a check-in. So I'm gonna do refresh. Let's check that up and submit. As you can see, our function is working. So check 1 is selected. It's checked. So now what we need to do is to insert some stuff into the database. So since we're in WordPress, so I'd like to start with a global WP database. So global. So let's add the $sign WP DB. Let's close that up, and over here we need to put I need to put the name of our database. So for example, let's call it DB, and let's make it equal to, so WP again, WP, and let's use the prefix point, let's add that. So the name of that database is gonna be the RF section. So RF section. So you can get rid of this WPDB prefix and add the entire stuff. For example, let me just show you. So we can do something like this. So WP over here and do it like this. But I don't recommend this approach because sometimes when dealing with the different plugins or different databases, you might have this first section changed to something else. So that might cause some problems. So that's why I prefer this prefix, which means we are given WordPress the authority to check it and change it to whatever, to adapt it to any name we got. Alright, so let's close that up over here and let's go down and let's start with an insert function. So I'm gonna start again with the WP-DB and let's do this. So insert function. Let's open that like this and let's go down. So the first parameter, so we need to add 2 parameters. The first one is gonna be the name of our database. So I'd like to put it over here, so DB. Let's add a comma like this and let's go down. And over here we need to use an array. So basically this array, it's gonna be having all these values. So first we need to set the ID. So let's put it inside quotation marks, ID. And let's make it assigned to, for example, 999. It's just a test. And I'm gonna scroll down and let's add for example something else. So section ID or section title, yeah, actually section section title, and let's make it equal to something like checkbox number 1 is checked, or something like that. Check 1 is checked, like this. Let's close that. But actually, since we need to do it on the top one, so this one, which is the final one, actually we don't need it. So I'm gonna just do save. Okay, so let's go to our page over here. I'm gonna be doing a refresh, so let's save that just like this. So as you can see now, if we do refresh over here in our database, we aren't going to be able to see that 999. So for the ID, it's invisible. So now what we need to do is to check that box and hit submit. So check 1 is checked, but we also over here we need to see that element. As you can see, we got it over here. So the ID is 999. 0 check 1 is checked. So this is how we can use our checkbox to insert data into database.